What's up, guys? Young Bucks, Old Goats, episode 81. The Goat and Tank, the Shawshank Redemption is with me. What's up, dog?
What's going on? Damn, episode 81, bro.
You're too far to fist bump. 81, right? Holy shit,
Yeah, man,
dude.
already.
It's been a while, dude. The 2-year anniversary, it's like a year and a half so far. Cheers, everybody out there.
Cheers, man.
Cheers, everybody on the replay. Cheers to you, Tank. Man, I'm excited about today's show, dude. We're gonna be talking to like a fucking bull rider, dude.
Yeah, bro, it's gonna be. Dude, these like special guests have been great, dude. I love that we're doing different things.
It's fun, right, to talk to somebody like out of our regular circle, you know, that
Yeah,
lives a different life.
learn a lot.
Yeah, for real, dude. Like, also, most people are never gonna fucking ride a bull in their life, dude. Right?
No, I'm not, bro.
Cheers,
Darren.
Darren. Darren, I keep mispronouncing his name. What's up? Today's 305 day, bro.
Yeah,
Happy 305 day, dude.
Happy 305.
Now that's just a new thing that happens on the Rio 5.
March 5th.
Is that just like a new thing? Every March 5th is going to be 305 day?
I guess, dude. I had never heard of that. I just saw it today for the first time. That I can remember.
First time I heard about it today. I guess we're just supposed to celebrate everything about Miami.
Yeah,
today.
bro. Hell yeah.
So some cafecito, some Domino's. I think at 3:05 p.m. you were supposed to take a shot of cafecito.
Maybe. Dude, I love colada, bro. I'll drink that shit right now, bro. If somebody offers it to me right now, I'll drink it.
Kind of hard for me to do in the middle of drinking, you know, but it's hard for me to turn down.
Well, I meant more of the time, you know. Like, you know, a lot of people are like, no, then I won't sleep tonight. Fuck that.
No way, dude. I'll drink that almost at any time of the day.
Yeah, bro.
With a little croqueta if they have it. What else? What else do you think of when you think of 305? South Beach?
Pitbull. Mr. Worldwide.
Miami Heat.
Florida
Marlins.
Dolphins.
Miami Dolphins. Miami Hurricanes. University of Miami.
Yep.
What else?
Cuba. Scarface.
Cuba Libre, yep. Which is also a drink, right?
Yes.
Coke and rum.
A Roman Coke.
Some people call it a Roman Coke that don't know how to pronounce it. Some people call it a Coke and rum, but it's really a rum and Coke.
Yes. What else? Fucking beautiful women.
That is true, my friend. The beach, obviously, we already talked about South Beach, but like the beach itself, probably some fishing, few things like that.
Clubs. What else? I'm not a clubber, but definitely clubs.
Yeah.
People think of Miami, they think of clubs.
Yeah, club scene, salsa music, things like that. All right, so whatever, dude. Happy 305 to everybody out there. It's almost over. Maybe we'll make a bigger deal out of it next year. We'll do like a whole episode around, you know, we'll get some coladas, some croquetas, and we'll make a bigger deal out of...
Yeah, hopefully we'll be together by then.
Yeah, for real, dude. We're going to do an in-studio session soon. Dude, did you hear about this Barca Gate thing?
No.
See, I don't know all the details to talk about it enough, but supposedly it's like a big deal in Barcelona where they had hired like an outside entity to like spy on their players and their staff and get dirt on them, and then they would use it against them in negotiations and make them look bad in the press and stuff. Messi was all balls deep into it and all that stuff. Again, I don't know the whole scenario, but they call it Barca Gate, so some Barcelona scandal.
Oh no, I'll have to look into that. I didn't hear about that.
Yeah. We have our guest backstage, so you know we'll bring him on in a couple minutes.
They're actually not doing very well either, so I don't know.
I haven't been keeping up, dude. So I'm not
Me,
sure.
me neither. Not enough. Not when they're winning, right?
Right. When
So
they're
no.
winning, it's not such a big deal. More like when they're losing, you might hear about it like, oh wow, they're not winning.
Yeah, yeah. Like they lost. The last game that I know that they played, they lost like 4-0 at home against PSG.
I saw they got their ass whooped. I think it was last year that monumental whooping they took, like 8-1 or something like that. That was like the worst beating they ever took.
Yeah.
How about I was gonna say Mr. Potato. Is it still Mr. Potato Head?
Yeah,
Mr. and
yeah.
Mrs. Potato.
It's still.
First, we thought it was just gonna be Potato Head, right?
Yeah, they were gonna change it, but a lot of backlash and
They like backed out of it quick and said,
yeah,
"Oh, we're
quickly.
not killing Mr. and Mrs. We're just having an additional one that's just called Potato Head."
Yeah, I guess that's what they did.
That's
But
weird. That's weird, dude.
I find it dumb, right? They're married. They're a couple, right?
First of all, who still plays with a fucking Potato Head, dude? My kid
It's
used it.
true.
My kid used it.
I know a lot of kids that used it, but
Yeah,
like I don't know if I would have gotten my daughter one. Maybe I don't know.
but they're not like the people who use it who are kids are not like, oh, Mr., Mrs., whatever. It's like, why even bring that into the equation there with children, right? It's basically
Yeah, it's an adult.
unless
It's adults doing that shit.
yeah, it's weird. Always things with adults making decisions for kids is weird for me. Well, then you had the Dr. Seuss. I always say Zeus. Seuss. Dr.
Yeah,
Seuss.
I don't know too much about that. I don't even know exactly what books got taken out.
Like 6 books. I don't
But
know.
like famous ones or like
Maybe you could look it up real quick. All I know is there was one that was a major one, and then there was 5 others that they deemed inappropriate for the times or whatever. I don't remember exactly how they worded it, and they were just going to retire those books, which I'm sure like a lot of people bought up the remaining copies because they're not going to be made anymore.
it is. If I ran the zoo and to think that I saw it on Mulberry Street,
That was the main one, I think.
McElligot's Pool, and then 2 more, but I don't see them.
Yeah, I don't remember those titles. Green Eggs and Ham and all
On
that.
Beyond Zebra, and What Pet Should I Get? I believe, or no, not that one.
Yeah, apparently there was some questionable material in some of them. All right, dude, you ready to bring on our guest here? Or did we have any other material to cover before we get into that?
No, let's bring them on, man.
Let's bring him on, man. I really didn't prepare much information. I'm excited to talk to our guest tonight. His name is Michael, and let me bring him on with us. Michael, how are you?
All right. How about yourself?
Pretty good, man. Thanks for
Good.
joining us.
Oh, no problem. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely, man. So, Michael, you are out of West Union, Ohio, right? That's what you told me?
Yes, sir.
And that, I looked it up. It's like a pretty small town, right? Like, I
Yep.
saw an older census. But it said like about 2,000 people.
Yep. Our whole
That's-
county, it's pretty small. We don't have a Kroger or nothing like that. The biggest store we got, it's a Walmart, and that's all we got in our county. So
I was talking to him before the show. I go, I wonder, because I know we got some small towns in Central Florida where that's kind of like the case. I said, I wonder if they have one. How far is that from you?
the Walmart,
Yeah.
it's actually just like, I don't know, probably 5 minutes from my house.
Oh, okay. You're good.
Yeah, it's actually in West Union, but I used to live in another town, and it was a 25-minute drive, I'd say.
They're telling me you're the GOAT over here in the chat. So,
That's good.
Michael, when is you mentioned to me you grew up on a farm, so all your life basically?
Yeah, just as long as I can remember, grandparents and great grandparents had farms. I was always out there with them and stuff. And then as I got older, like, of course, some of my grandparents have passed away and stuff. And so then I got to working on farm and actually worked in tobacco for 4 or 5 years. And then now I work on a hog farm now. And then got into the rodeo stuff.
So tell me a little bit about the hog farm. Is that people go and pick out the one they want, or how does that work?
This is more of just like a mass production market type hog, where we have 150 sows and we just cycle them in groups of 50 when they farrow or have baby piglets, and then we raise them up and sell them to a market. So,
okay, we have something down here in South Florida where I'm Cuban, and in the Cuban community, Crisp the 24th, Nochebuena, that traditional is a pig. You know, we get a pig, and we got a few places here that you go and you pick out the one you want and you take it home. But you're talking about like more like a wholesale type operation.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. And the tobacco, what was that all about? Like they would grow tobacco to sell?
Yeah. It started in the greenhouse about March, and we'd plant the seeds into the greenhouse, and then a couple months later we'd put it in the ground, and then you come back and you spray it every few months, and then you got to top it, and then go through and cut it and hang it, and then take it back down out of the barns and strip it off leaf by leaf, and then you bale those leaves into big 500-pound bales and sell those, and then that turns into your mostly cigarettes and like chewing tobacco products and stuff.
Okay. Wow. Yeah, in Cuba, this is like a big product, and we can't get them here. Sometimes people will go and bring them back for us and stuff like that. So you're out there. Is there somebody in your life when you were a kid or growing up that you were like, oh man, I want to do that one day, that you saw, ride a bull and you were like, oh shit, that's for me, dude. I want to do that.
Yeah, there's really two people. I was thinking about that, like whatever started that fire in me, and I gotta blame it on Lane Frost and Luke Perry. Lane Frost for being one of the greatest cowboys of his time, which he died in 1988 after riding a bull for 8 seconds in the ring. The bull got him and it killed him. And then Luke Perry played him in a movie, and I watched that movie, it seemed like once a day growing up. So
that was one of my questions for later. I'll ask you for some more. What's the name of that one?
Oh, that's 8 seconds.
Okay.
The story of Lane Frost.
So if I want to watch, if there's one bull riding movie to watch, and there's probably way more, but is that the one that everybody should watch?
Yes, I should, or that's the one I'd pick. That's every time I watch it, it's not completely accurate to Lane Frost's life, but it's a well-made movie and never fails. I will cry at the end of it whenever it's telling this events of his death. I 100% every time will cry.
When did he pass away?
July 30th of 1988 in Cheyenne, Wyoming.
And I believe Luke Perry passed away not too long ago, right? If I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, he did.
Rest in peace. Okay, cool. I'm gonna have to check that out. You ever seen that one, Tank?
Nah, honestly, I didn't even know there was many bull riding movies until you guys mentioned them the other day.
Yeah. Well, what the hell? Let's just get into it right now. Here we go. Urban Cowboy. Does he ride bulls in that one? I've never seen that one. You ever seen that one, Michael?
No, I haven't actually.
Okay. Is there any other bull riding movies that you like?
That's really just the main one that I remember. I mean, I'm trying to think of any others. I can't think of any.
All right, if they come to you, just shoot them out later.
Okay.
When's the first time you got on a bull?
That would be July 20th of 2019.
So this is a
I was always talking.
Oh yeah, it's recent.
Yeah. I always wanted to growing up and stuff, but I never knew of a place around here, and my parents wasn't too crazy about the idea, which I was a 3-sport athlete in high school, so there wasn't really time to ride. Plus, I probably would have got hurt, and that would put me out of my sports and stuff, and it was kind of a big deal. In Southern Ohio, sports is a big deal, so I kind of just waited.
What'd you play in high school?
I ran cross country, played basketball, and then played baseball. And now at college, well, my freshman year at college, I played baseball down there. And then COVID shut it down my sophomore year, but I plan on going back and playing baseball at college.
What position you play?
In high school, I played outfield, which I'm 6'3" and a lefty, so they moved me to pitcher. But I'm trying to talk. We got a new coach now, and I'm trying to tell him that I want to play some outfield. And if you want me to pitch, that's fine, but I'd rather play outfield.
I'm surprised they never try to stick you out in first base.
That's what I thought you were going.
Left-handed dude.
Yeah, I'd be okay with first base too. There's a lot of pressure on that mound, and I don't like it.
Yeah, pitching is tough, dude. It's either, I don't know. But lefty, you have an easier path as a lefty too, because there's not as many, and there's always a need for them.
Is there a lot of lefty first basemen?
Almost every first baseman is left-handed.
Well, I mean on your team specifically, Michael.
Sorry.
I'm trying to think. We had 3 first basemen. I think one of them was a lefty my freshman year. I think the other 2 were right-handeds.
Okay. So I'm going to show. So July 2019, you find a place where you can do it. And how does that work? What do you you walk up and you're like, hey, can I sign up?
Yeah, that's exactly how this place worked at that time. So one of the guys that worked with my dad, him and his brother used to ride when they were younger. And I got to talking to him because I knew he rode. And I was like, so where do I go? How do I sign up? I mean, I just want to do this maybe just once just to say I've rode a bull. I mean, not a lot of people can say that. So I talked to him and found this place. It's about an hour-and-a-half drive from my house. And you just show up, pay your entry fee, and sign a waiver. And if you're under 18, you have your parents sign your waiver, and you get to ride a bull.
So were you under 18 at the time?
No, I was 18. Yeah.
Okay. And how much is that fee?
For I ride in the novice class still. I'm not quite to the point of riding for money. This here's just like either old bulls or young bulls or bulls that don't perform to the standards they want to for the money round. And that entry fee is $25.
Okay. And the waiver, I could walk up and try it?
Yes, you could.
Oh wow. I don't think I will, but if I was younger, I probably, just to say, because we were talking about that backstage, I go, dude, most people are never going to do that. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, it's not, I don't know the numbers, but I bet like way more people jump out of an airplane than people who ride a bull, and probably way more people do some diving or something like that. You know, it seems more touristy or like you could, I don't know. And then, you know, you got to have a little something in you to try that. I would have liked to have tried it one day, maybe. I'd like to think that I would have liked to have tried it. Would you got on a bull, Tank, if you had the chance?
I mean, I'd fucking do it, but that's what I say now, right?
Well, you were out riding fucking motocross and all that shit, so
yeah, but I don't know.
like a risk taker.
Yeah, I mean, I'd do it, bro. That's what I've never done the mechanical one because I never got the chance. But
now, is there a mechanical bull in your area in the bar or something?
There might be one now. There never was one that I knew about, other than there was a guy that brought one to the county fair. And every year I'd spend, I don't know how many hundreds of dollars getting on that thing.
And you won? Did you get the best record?
I don't know. It was just some little rinky dink.
They weren't keeping score or nothing?
Yeah, it was just, and I think they stopped doing that several years ago, and it was to the point where I was little enough that it was probably not going too hard, and I was just like, man, I'm a cowboy. I've rode a mechanical bull, so it's destiny. It has to happen now.
Then have you ridden anything else, like maybe like a bronco or?
I have not. I haven't been to any rodeos I've been to one rodeo that had broncs. It's one of those things I want to do, but then I got talking to people, and it's a whole different ball game. It's nothing like riding bulls.
Yeah.
So it's one of those things. Maybe someday down the road, if I get good enough and get traveling in a circuit that has them, maybe I will try. But I'm not going to just go jump on a bronc one time and just. I'd rather not get too beat up.
Absolutely. Now, that mechanical bull is that anything like the real deal, or no, that's just a game, right?
Yeah,
basically.
Yeah. You can ride a mechanical bull and then go to work the next morning, and no big deal. You ride a bull and you go to work the next morning, you're like, man, it's hurting. And then the day after that, you're like, man, I thought it was hurting yesterday. It's really hurting today.
After how many rides?
Oh, after the first one, just eating the dirt, you just get sore. The pain ain't instant either. If you have instant pain, that's when you know you're really hurt. Like if you jump up, I'm like, the adrenaline's just so high, I don't feel anything till I'm about home, like an hour and a half later, riding in a car. Then I get out of the car and I'm like, man, I can't hardly walk. My hips are hurting, my legs are hurting.
That's how I was in motocross. Whenever you would fall and then whatever, you'd get back up, keep riding. But after that, bro, when you got home, it'd be like, oh.
Yeah, that's exactly how it is.
So let's show one of these. These are all you right here on the IG page?
Yeah, that's all me. There might be one video in there that's my cousin, but other than that, they're all me.
All right, you want to kind of tell me about one of these and I'll show them and you can narrate for us?
The second row, one on the far left, there's my most recent 8-second ride.
Is that
that one right there? Yeah.
Okay, so let's show that one here. Hopefully I can get it to play. There's no volume, but yeah, dude, you're freaking tall, dude.
Yeah, it's one of those things. I like having long legs riding a bull. You get good spur hooks, but then that's a lot of upper body getting thrown around. Like even on this here bull, it wasn't too crazy coming out of the chutes or nothing. It comes and it just makes a little rocking buck. It's not like a real steep buck or nothing. And it's still throwing my body all around in just a loose right-hand turn. I mean, it's one of those bulls that is really good. Like before that night, I was feeling really down on myself. Like, man, you've rode 15 bulls and you've only covered one. I'm like, maybe I should just hang it up, maybe whatever. And then I rode this one here and it was just like, this is why I stuck around. I mean, this here is a small step in the right direction. This is what I needed.
And Michael, when you say I covered one, does that mean you made 8 seconds on it or what? Yeah. I don't know. Okay, so 8 seconds what you want, right? That's the goal.
Yeah, to get a score, you have to ride 8 seconds. If you fall off at 7.9, it's a no score. Sorry about you. See you later.
And okay. When does the timer start? When you're in the middle or once the gate opens?
The timer starts when the bull starts coming out of the gate.
Okay.
So that gate can come open if that bull just stands there, which probably ain't going to happen. I mean, these bulls are trained to buck. That once they start coming out, as soon as they cross that, like if there was a piece of glass there in front where that gate is, as soon as they bust that glass or whatever, that's when it starts. Let's see, this one here's my most recent ride, I think. And this here is a bull I rode before. This is my second time riding him. And I had an idea what he was going to do. He was going to come out and turn left. And I got that part right. But then when he turned back to the right, I over-dedicated myself, got too far down on the left. So when he turned right, I couldn't get back over because it's all about balance. I mean, you can hook your feet as well as you want to, and it don't matter. You're still going to eat dirt if you get too far.
How often, I assume, besides the times you've ridden, you've attended a lot of these events as a spectator too, right?
Yeah, actually I want to say 2 weeks ago, I went down to Central Kentucky and watched the PBR, which is Professional Bull Riders.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
This here is a cool camera angle, I think, from behind the chutes. You get to see more of what's going on in there. And then this here bull, it was the second time riding him. First time I rode him, he stepped on me good, ripped my shirt up, and left me a good old bruise. And so I had an idea what he was going to do. He was going to come out, buck a few times, and turn right. I was expecting one more buck before the turn. See, that's the thing with bull riding. You can't expect anything. because they'll prove you wrong 100% of the time. You got to go out there and ride him buck for buck. And when he turns right, you got to move right. When he turns left, you got to move left.
So are you kind of scout? Other riders are riding the same bulls, right? Is that right?
Yeah. At this here place, they have the same group of bulls, and you ride them every week.
Okay, so you're kind of scouting these bulls a little bit. Hey, this is what he does a lot of the time. Sometimes to get an idea what to expect. But obviously, it's an animal. It's not always going to do the same thing. But is that part of the strategy?
It's part of it. I don't like to do it too much. I mean, I do it. Don't get me wrong. But it's one of those things. The bull, he can feel you where you're at, and he knows how to get you off his back. I mean, he has enough riders on him that if he feels you on the right side, like trying to guess what he's going to do, he's going to turn left because he's going to put you on the ground. He's always going to try to get out from underneath of you. So if you're trying to guess what he's going to do, and you might watch him 100 times, and he might turn right 100 of those times, you get on him, set up, you think he's going right, he'll go left that one time just because you were expecting it, just to prove you wrong and make sure you don't ride him.
How often does one of these bulls step on somebody? That's the part that I always, when I'm watching it, I'm like, when the rider falls off and the bull's jumping, I always feel like they're going to land on the guy. How often does that happen?
Here at Fox Hollow, which is a rodeo I ride at most of the time, they allow 25 novice and I think it's 24 jackpot, which jackpot's the higher class, better bulls and stuff. And I'd say out of those, that would be 49 rides. I'd say there's 4 or 5 people getting stepped on every night. I mean, it's pretty common.
And what is the extent of the injuries that go along with getting stepped on normally?
I've got stepped on a couple times. The worst one, it probably could have fractured my ribs if it wasn't for my vest. The vest saved me there. And then I've got stepped on, it just grazed my skin, and he stepped on my pants leg and ripped my pants off me. But other than that, basically no pain at all.
So most of the time, you don't have to go to the hospital when you're getting stepped on?
No, I haven't yet. But then there is some guys I've seen that they'll land funny, and they'll get their legs caught in a certain way, and they'll get their legs snapped in half, and they're getting up trying to run from the bull, and their foot's just helicoptering down at the bottom of their leg. And I mean, I've seen some bad stuff, but it don't happen. Those real bad ones don't seem like they happen as often. It's more of just you got beat up and moves on.
How about the horns? Is that another common injury that can happen, getting horned?
Every once in a while, sometimes you get temperamental bulls and they just want to come after you. And the bulls have horns and they know they have horns and they will use them. But you can't as long as you're just not scared of them, it ain't that big of a deal. Like I tend to, whenever I'm in the chute getting ready to ride, before I nod my head and tell him that I'm ready to ride, I look up at the bull's head and make sure his head's straight. That way he comes out right. And if he's not how I want him to be, I'll just reach up and grab one of his horns and straighten his head out or put his head wherever I want it and then nod, and there we go.
Can you tell me sort of like, obviously that dude opens the gate. These two guys are there to kind of distract the bull if the rider or when the rider falls off, because they always are going to fall off eventually, right?
Right, yeah. Them are American bullfighters. And if you call them rodeo clowns, they will get upset.
Okay.
Because they're out there fighting bulls trying to keep the riders safe. And everyone thinks that those guys are there to put on a show or whatever. And those are the two most important people in the ring at all. It was not that my foot. The bullfighters would have ran and got me uncaught.
So those are your best friends when you're in there.
Yes, yeah. And that one in the gray shirt there on the like in the center of the screen, he's actually a world champion freestyle bullfighter. So I mean,
now,
like,
what is
they got
freestyle?
some real good guys. That's more where they get a bull, and it's usually a mean bull that wants to come after people, turn them loose in a ring, and that guy goes out there, and they'll like sidestep and jump over them and do that kind of thing. Just get as close to the bull without getting hurt, basically.
So kind of like a matador thing, but they're not killing the bull.
Yeah, exactly like that. And they get like a set, or I think it's a minute of time to just do as many tricks as they can and get scored and stuff.
Tank, I've been rapid fire questioning him. You got any questions for Michael?
Yeah, dude, and this question is like no offense or no something my dad always told me as a kid, and you believe everything your dad tells you. The way that they would get the bulls to come out and buck, he would say that they would wrap something around their testicles, to get them to start like kicking. And is that true or?
No, that is one of those things that a lot of people believe, but it's actually not accurate. That rope, if you look on any of these rides or pictures or whatever, there's two ropes on a bull. One is the rope I'm holding on to, and the other one they call a flank rope. And a flank is a sensitive spot right in front of the hind legs on animals.
Yeah.
So they put that flank rope around the flanks, pull it. If you pull it too tight, the bull will fall down. So there's a certain sweet spot that you put it, and it makes them want to buck and kick and stuff to get that rope off. And then, so they just pull it there. It's not actually involving the testicles and stuff. It's just the flank.
Okay. So it's like a misconception, it's close.
Right.
People just assume, yeah.
Yeah. That's a very common thing that people think too.
Michael, why is there a dog there in the
those dogs, every once in a while you'll get a bull that wants to come after people, and instead of the clowns going out and trying to lure them into the out gate, which is where the bulls go out of the ring, they send those dogs in, and those dogs just bark and bite at their heels and chase the bulls out of the ring.
Oh man, so this is like another trained employee basically there working for the crowd safety.
Yeah. And those dogs are good at what they do. They can go in there and make like a little snap at their feet or whatever, and that bull will kick at them or turn around and start coming after them, and they'll just back up out of the way and go right back at their feet and just run circles around those bulls until they leave the ring.
Do they have a name, this type of dog that does this job?
I'm not 100% sure on that. I don't. At bigger rodeos, you have a guy on a horse with a lasso. So this here's the only place I've ever seen this. So I'm not 100% on that one.
I wonder if the dog, I used to have a dog. She was crazy. I wonder if she would have been good for this job. I live as close as you can get to the country in South Florida. I live in a place called Homestead in the Redland area. And there's a lot of horses around here. And my dog, she would get into the horse pens and chase the horses from time to time until she got kicked in the face one day. And then, she kind of chilled out about it. But she probably would have been good for this job now that I see this dog doing that. That's pretty cool.
So one of my, I don't know if it would be my 5th or 6th video I actually, or posted on this thing.
All right, so down at the bottom?
Yeah.
Is it this one?
That one right there.
Okay.
That there I rode in Central Kentucky, and it was a PRA event, which is Professional Rodeo Association. It was real close to my college, and I wanted all my college buddies to see me ride a bull. And then I signed up and stuff, didn't really realize what it was. Got there, and they're like, "Welcome to a PRA." And I'm thinking, oh crap, this here's a lot harder, a lot bigger bull than I ever got before.
That bull is bucking a lot crazier than the other ones.
Right, yeah. And really, I think I could have rode it. I just lost my feet. When I say I lost my feet, my spurs on my boots, I just didn't keep them in his side good enough. Like, he wasn't hard spinning or nothing. Usually if they buck, you do all right, or I can do all right. And then if they spin, I can usually do all right. It's whenever they combine the two, it's when they start getting hard. And this one here just had that nice buck. It left me a good bruise on my leg. When I start coming off, I go forward. He put a horn right across my leg and left a nice bruise. And then he about kicked me in the face. It's behind a bar on this video, but it was really close to my face. Like, soon as I hit the ground and looked up to see where the bull was so I could run the opposite direction, his hoof was right at my nose. I don't know how in the world I didn't get kicked, but I'm glad I didn't.
Yeah, this one looks dicey, bro. This bull is way bigger and like has a way bigger vertical leap than the other ones we were looking at.
Yeah.
And that's just me not knowing anything about bull riding.
Say a bull riding is a scored event. There's judges involved. And this here bull if I would have rode him for 8 and stayed up where I needed to, it would have been, it's out of 100. He would have probably been a mid-80s bull, which the bull gets 50 points, and then the rider gets 50 points, and that's split up between 2 judges. That guy in the white shirt there at the end of that has his hand on the fence, I believe he's one of the judges, and there's one on each side of the ring, and they both can give the bull 25 points and the rider 25 points, and then they add all 4 of them up, like the bull and rider score on the left side, bull and rider score on the right side, and then take that out of 100. There's only been one perfect ride ever in rodeo, and it was way back when, and it's still debated on whether it was truly a 100-point ride or not, whether the rider stayed in control. The bull was bucking really good and spinning and stuff, but it's a lot of people say, well, he done this, he shouldn't have got the 100-point. And
so there has only been one perfect ride ever?
Yeah.
Wow,
and depending who you talk to, they may not even think that it's accurate.
Are you aware, like, how far back this dates? The sport?
I'm not really that sure.
Tank, maybe you
look
can
it up
check.
now. Yeah.
Yeah. Because that's crazy, man. That there's only been one perfect ride ever. I watch a lot of football, and they don't do it so much nowadays. But back in the days, there was like a prototypical size and weight for different positions. Like quarterback, they used to want like a 6'3" guy, 200 pounds, and running backs, you wanted them like 220 pounds. Is there like a prototypical height / weight for a bull rider, and is there different divisions based on people's size and weight, or the bull's size and weight?
There's no different divisions. They're all just together. The rider, most of the pros are between like no taller than 5'10". Like if you're 5'10" and a pro, you're one of the taller ones out there. Most of them are like the 5'6" to 5'8" range, which puts me way over height. And then, but anyone can do it. One of the best riders at Fox Hollow, he had a real good January, won a lot of money, was placed first in the nation in their league and stuff. I'd say he's my height or thereabouts. So, I mean, like anyone can do it. It's just most of the time, if you want to go real good, you're 5'8", 5'6", somewhere in there.
Michael, I got here. Could it be Wade Leslie?
Yeah, Wade Leslie on Werewolf.
Brownie's Wolfman.
Yeah, Wolfman. That's what it is. Yep.
Yeah, that's 91. And then I got that Gay set a record at 97 in 77.
Okay. That sounds about right. I knew it was Wade Leslie now that you said that name.
Is this place like a giant barn?
In the winter it is. If you go down to the bottom, it has a few outside rings. Or it has an outside ring and a few videos of it. But during the cold months, or if it's raining and stuff, they'll move it inside. Or if it's nice outside and warm and stuff, they'll go outside and buck. So.
And how often do they do this?
Every Saturday. Well, now it's every Friday and Saturday. It was every Saturday.
Strictly a rodeo barn?
Yeah. Yep. That ring stays up all the time. And then every Friday and Saturday has bulls bucking in it. And once they go outside, they also do barrel racing. But the inside arena is not big enough to set up the barrels.
What is barrel racing for city slickers like us that don't know?
It's you set up 3 barrels in a triangle in a ring, and then people and horses come in, and there's a certain pattern you have to run around them, and it's a timed event. Whoever does it the fastest gets to the win that week.
It's like they try to see who can do the fastest laps in the between those barrels on horses.
Yeah.
A blue heeler dog, he's saying here. Caleb Rothwell is the name of the dog. So what are the other events in a typical rodeo? I have one here that I haven't been able to go to. They do it like once annual, the Homestead Rodeo. What if you're going to a rodeo, what's like the typical, other than, talked about the bull riding and you just talked about the barrel racing?
Yeah.
What else can you expect to see?
A lot of times you'll have bronc riding, whether it'll be saddle broncs or barebacks or both. Some of them depends. Then you got roping events. So you got team roping, which is 2 people. One person ropes the head of the calf, and one person ropes the back legs of the calf. And then you got tie down roping. So you rope a calf and then get off your horse and run over, and you got to flip the calf on its back and tie 3 of its feet together. And once you get the 3 feet together, your time stops. There's an event called bulldogging, which you ride out on your horse, and then there's 2 horses running side by side with a calf in the middle. And one of the 2 guys falls off his horse on top of the back of it's a little bit bigger calf, and you have to flip that calf on its back. And once the calf's on its back, your time stops. They're all timed events.
Are those 2 guys working together?
Yeah. The one's just to keep it close while the other guy's getting ready to bail down onto him and stuff.
Is it predetermined which dude is going to jump off, or that just happens?
It's always determined. Like one person will be competing in the event, and the other person might just be working it. They might have a designated person they want to run with, but not always.
Okay, so he's got his kind of job that he's doing for that. Well, what happens if you get 4 of his legs? You talked about 3. What happens if you get 4?
I don't know. I haven't actually seen that, I don't think.
Okay, you just got to get 3. That's everybody knows. All right. Stupid question. And then what else do we have? Is that the sort of the main ones?
Yeah. And then every once in a while they'll have, for women, they have breakaway roping, which you rope a calf or something, and your lasso is usually shorter. And then whenever you lasso it, your horse stops, and then there's a loop on your saddle. And whenever that lasso, there's a flag on the end of it. Whenever that flag clears that loop on your saddle, your time stops. I think that's the main ones that I've seen.
We got a question here in the chat for you from Cody Rothwell.
Some gear you use. I actually have a lot of my gear sitting here if you'd want me to go through and show.
Yeah, man, that'd be awesome. I'm gonna blow up your screen so we can get a better look at some of that stuff.
Okay. Well, first thing, I talked about it before. You don't want to lose your feet. Here's my bull riding boots and my spur. These here spurs, I actually have them wired onto these boots so they don't ever come off. But you want to put it into the side of the bull, into the skin, and that there's kind of 2 points of contact with both your feet. That way you can keep your feet and your body balanced where you need it to be. There's 2 points of contact. Your third point of contact is your glove. I've got an old glove. And then I have some roslin, which I have a bag of roslin, but my cousin's using it tonight. He's actually riding tonight. And roslin is basically dried tree sap. And then once you heat it up, it gets really, really sticky. So you can put those 2 on your glove and on your rope.
Is that sort of like the same thing pitchers use, the rosin bag?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And then I also got my bull rope, which I got a bull rope pad on mine. You put your hand in here, and then one end has a loop on it. And this here loop, I put 2 bells on the end of this, and it drops down and goes around the bull. And then the other end is just a tail. Just there's nothing on the end of it, just the rope. And you put that through the loop, and that's what you pull tight. once your hand's in here, and then you tie in however you want to tie in, and that there's what keeps you on a bull. I mean, once your hand comes loose, you're off the bull. So that's really important piece of equipment. And then I also have my vest. It's just padded vest to take away a hit if you get stepped on or horned or whatever. So
Is there like a wrong way to tie your hand? Like, could you get stuck and be dragged?
yeah, there is. The way I do it, they call it the butterfly, where I'm not like, I don't want to get hung up. I'm not doing it for money or anything. It's just me having fun on the weekends. So, like, I just lay it across my hand. I don't wrap it all. It's just there. Once my fist comes loose, I'm out of there. But then some people wrap it around their wrist, and some people just lay it the second time, just lay it through their hand. Some people weave their fingers. I mean, just everyone has their own way of doing it. And the more you wrap and the more complex you do, the more likely you are to get hung up. And that's when the bullfighters come in. So,
Yo, Caleb has a good question there. I've been thinking about it, but I didn't want to ask anything.
Yeah, I was gonna ask that. I think these Rothwell boys probably should be interviewing. They have some good questions.
Yeah.
So I don't know if you have a lady or whatever, but is it a good way to impress the ladies?
there is a lot of women up there that usually are oohing and awing over certain cowboys. It hasn't done me much good, but I'm hoping someday it will.
You're probably being modest, dude. I'm sure.
Yeah, I think so.
Oh, I wish it did just attract the women like none other. It would be all right.
Is that any motivation, or you just want to go ride bulls?
I just want to go ride bulls.
All right, because I know
Like
if I
it-
was 20, that would probably I would be stupidly motivated by that instead of learning.
Yeah, I'm actually in the process right now of building a bucking barrel so I can practice more other than once a week and just trying to get better. It's one of those things that, like I said, just from a young age, I've been addicted. I mean, other than watching 8 Seconds all the time, I grew up watching the PBR on TV every weekend. I mean, I was just all about it. And I don't know. It's one of those things just you always want to do. And then once you've done it, I've been told bull riding and rodeo in general is like a drug. And I believe it. Because once you do it once, it's just like, man, I can't wait till that next time. And I just want to do it all the time. If I could ride 7 days a week, I probably would be riding 7 days a week.
Yeah, there's probably like a major adrenaline high, natural high that you get. Like, sort of like what's going through your head, like when you're sitting on that bull just before they open that door. What? There must be so much going on.
The main things that I like think of right before I ride is I know I got to keep my chin down because if you get looking up, you're off him. So I like kind of just make a mental checklist of things I need to do to ride this bull for 8. Like keep your chin down and keep your weight balanced, keep your feet sticking out and sticking down slightly so your spurs stay good. It's just, that's the last things I think of right as I'm sliding up, because when you tie your rope, you kind of sit back off of it so you can work with it. And then whenever you ride, you scoot up so far that your hand's basically underneath you. And then when I'm doing that, that's when I'm getting ready to nod. And I'm just like, okay, feet, make sure your feet's right. Chin, make sure your chin's down. Just the few little things that I do, and then nod and away we go.
You ever seen some dude get to that point and do that checklist and be like, okay, no, I'm out, and just get off the bull? Has that ever happened?
There's a couple bulls that you could sit down on them in the chute, and they're like, start bucking and stuff, and before you even nod and get out in the ring. And I actually rode one of those. I went by myself one weekend, so I didn't have anyone videoing me. But he started bucking in the chute and stuff, and I didn't get my hand in the rope good because he kept on jerking and all kinds of just was being a complete idiot in there. So I've seen a few people get that bull and then sit on it and try to get their hand in there, and they're just like, no, I ain't doing this. Because on those wild ones, someone has to be standing up beside you, and they hold on to your vest, and every time that bull bucks, they just hold on to you and make sure you don't like knock heads with him or something and
What's
get hurt
that vest
before.
made out of?
I am not sure, actually. It does not say. It's like some kind of just like stiff foam on the inside. It's just a cloth vest with stiffer foam
Okay.
inside. It's not really like if you punch me when I'm wearing that, it still hurts. It's just instead of breaking ribs, maybe it'll slide off of it a little bit more or whatever. But
Gotcha.
How many rides do you get per weekend or per appearance?
the class I'm in is just one. I'm hoping midsummer, maybe sooner, if I keep riding pretty consistently and keep getting better, I'll be riding twice a night.
You could go fall in 0.5 seconds and that's it. You're done.
Yep. Yeah,
Oh.
that's the crappy part. Yeah, I drive an hour and a half, pay my $25, and I mean the maximum ride's 8 seconds, so I'm doing about 6 hours round trip for 8 seconds of riding.
Yeah, you gotta really be into it. You gotta really like it. You gotta really want to do it. It's not like you probably can't go like half-ass into that. You know, you gotta like say, all right, I'm all in. I'm gonna, you know, because that's tough, dude. I can imagine, man. Like driving and doing all that, and then oh shit, you know, something goes wrong, and then
yep.
And then
you can't pay 25 and get another ride that night.
No.
Oh.
I wish that's the way it works because I'd be riding 3 or 4 a night after I get up there. But yeah, and the other bad thing, not only the drive up there and the drive back and all that stuff, but I got probably $1,000 in bull riding equipment between the boots. The hat's optional. I mean, you don't have to have it. Of course, I'm going to have one, but
we're talking about the ladies earlier. You got to have that hat, dude.
Right. So, I mean, between all my equipment, I easily got $1,000 sitting here. And
it's any hobby. It's going to be expensive. It's all, and you're in an investment phase of it too, where you're just putting in, you know, right now.
Right.
I'm curious, dude. What are you working on behind you? I see an orange or red vehicle back there.
Oh, that's actually my buddy's dad's Mustang. He's redoing.
Do you know what year that is?
Late 60s.
I was gonna guess 68, maybe. I don't know.
That Cody or Caleb Rothwell, they'll probably comment. I'm actually at their house right now, so they'll probably let us know what year it is.
We have somebody here.
That's the one that we saw earlier, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's that bull, that PRA bull, a 66. There it is.
That is a sweet ride, dude. Hell yeah.
You have a sweet ride as well.
I have a 70 Chevelle that I finally got back on the road recently. So they're fun. Yeah. They're fun as long as they're driving.
Yeah.
Then the rest of the time they're a pain in the ass.
Yep.
Yeah.
You out there tomorrow?
What's that, riding?
Yeah.
Actually, this week I'm not. I was a little late to call in this week and didn't get a bull, which now instead of walking up and signing up and riding a bull, you have to text in on a certain day at a certain time. And I wasn't paying attention, lost track of time, and texted in about 10 minutes later than it started, and they were already full this weekend. So I'm taking this week off. I'm telling people it's for my own good that I thought I probably ought to take a week off for aches and pains and stuff, but.
So you've been going like almost every week consistently?
Yeah. Since Thanksgiving, I think I've missed 3 weeks.
Ah.
How did the COVID affect all this activity?
It shut the rodeo down there for several months. I think it was July when they opened it back up last year, which I didn't ride much last year anyways. My plan was to ride 52 weeks in 2020.
Wow,
which
dude.
I got in a car accident and missed about a month. And then next thing I know, COVID hit. And I'm like, well, now there ain't a rodeo anywhere you can get in. And then the first week they opened back up, I went and rode. And then my job at the time was tobacco work, right going into tobacco harvest. And I was working 14 hours a day, 7 days a week. So, I mean, I didn't have time for it. And then now I switched jobs and got my Fridays and Saturdays evenings off, so I can go ride.
Yeah, man. How could you have energy after 7 days a week and all those hours? Jesus, yeah.
Yeah.
That's tough, man. So, when you're not out riding bulls and you're not working, what can we expect to be doing in your town on a Friday or Saturday night? What's kind of the go-to hangout?
Most of the time, it's just hanging out in buddies' garages. I come here and play ping pong with my buddy a lot. Go driving around, just cruising. I mean, there's not jack squat to do out here. We had a bowling alley, which I was bowling like 5 nights a week, 7 games a night. I mean, like, we were hitting that hard, and then they closed it down, so now we got nothing. If we want to do something like exciting, we got to travel 45 minutes at the least to go do something. So a lot of times
it's not terrible. 45 minutes. You'll be surprised. We live in South Florida, but South Beach is always like 30 minutes away from everybody's house. It's South Florida is like super spread out. You got the beaches over here, downtown Miami's over here. Some people like to come on the weekends to my area, Homestead. It's as close as we have to the country. There's animals out here, and they cook, traditional, like, you get some corn on the cob, and you could go pick your own fruit. There's a lot of agriculture. Miami Dolphins play. They're the Miami Dolphins. They don't even play in the city of Miami. They're like up north. The Florida Panthers are the next county over. So everything is kind of spread out down here too.
I'd say there's a movie theater, a bowling alley. That would be a good 45-minute drive. But really, that's about the closest entertainment type deal, other than just finding back roads and going around driving them.
Making your own. You gotta make your own entertainment, basically.
Yeah.
How about hunting, dude? Is there any like hunting in your area that people do?
Yes, there's a lot of hunting. Adams County actually pulls in a lot of hunters. There's been a lot of big deer get shot here in Adams County. I was actually at one of the bigger ones around. If you Google like the Amish buck, it was, I think they said 30 plus point white-tailed deer, and I was actually at the. Yeah, I was actually.
Point.
Yeah.
How am I looking this up again? Amish
buck.
Damn, what the fuck?
Why do they call it that?
It was an Amish guy that shot it, which my grandparents still do. They haul Amish around. They're retired, so we became friends with some of them. Yeah, that guy there, that third picture, the second row, the second picture. Yeah, if you click that there picture, that's actually me in the background. That little boy.
Oh wow, dude!
Yeah.
Jesus Christ, dude, that is a big rack.
Yeah. I mean,
that's a white-tailed deer?
Yeah.
Is that the main deer? Do you guys have mule deer up there, or is it just whitetail?
It's just whitetail.
Okay.
So the two main hunting attractions around here is white-tailed deer and then a little bit of turkey. Not very many people come in for turkey, but a lot of people around here hunt turkey.
Are you in turkey season right now? We're in turkey season right now down here.
We're not quite. I think it opens up here in another couple of weeks.
And is your deer season like September, October, November, December, kind of that time frame?
Yeah, bow season is 3 or 4 months, and then I think there's 1 week that's gun season, which I don't gun hunt. I strictly bow, but
okay, yeah. Down here, okay. So you've been hunting a few times, I take it.
Yeah.
Friends, family. Yeah. Okay. What is the success rate? You go in a group, or you and your old man, or whatever. I always end up going with my old man. Used to go with my grandfather down here. What's the success rate of every time? How many times you got to go before you come home with something?
It kind of just depends on the spot. I don't have very good spots, so if I get one a season, I'm doing good. But then there's other people that they'll see stuff every night, whether or not they shoot one. It's debated, but
I always wonder about that. There's always one dude that, like, every time he sees multiple, and you're always like, dude, this guy's a liar, bro. He's
So that's always what I kind of thought. But then I got one of them on Snapchat, one of my buddies, and it seems like every evening he's posting pictures of a doe out in front of him, and it's just like, man, that must be nice.
It's really tough down here. We have terrible hunting down here. It's the success rate's really low. I think we have the Florida panther down here, and we have a boa problem, and we have gators, and between all that and like poor food, they're just dwindling down, you know. So there's not as much out there to, you know. There's other people hunting. We got John Holmes here asking a few questions.
It went in my brother's area, more up north. They have a boar, a wild hog problem, and I think they pay you to hunt them.
Where's he
I
at?
think that'd be fun.
Up in Brevard County. It's close by Cocoa Beach.
Yeah, they are a kind of a plague.
Like people like crash into them, and it's an issue that they have over there.
They fuck up crops.
Yeah,
big time. They kind of eradicated them down here in South Florida. I'm not even sure how.
All the Spanish people, bro. Get all the Spanish people getting them from Año Nuevo.
I don't know, dude. They're just gone. They're just not around.
Yeah, you don't see them, bro.
No, I used to see a lot of their, you know, hoof prints and all that and stuff, but I don't know if those predators got rid of them. A boar will fuck you up though too, because they'll square you up, and they'll fuck you up just like they probably could fuck up. They might be able to fuck up a panther.
Yeah,
you know.
So them tusks get serious.
Yeah, for sure, dude. They're no joke. So is that something you do on the regular up there? Hunting? Yeah.
Oh yeah. I really enjoy it. Just even if I don't see anything, I just like going out and sitting, just nice calming. Which sounds weird because my other hobby is bull riding, and that's anything but calming. But I really just like going out.
It's the opposite. You gotta have that sometimes, dude. That's my favorite thing. Yeah, my favorite thing about if I go, especially as poor as it is down here, and I'm gonna be pissed off because I didn't see or catch anything, I shouldn't go. You know, I go and I want to go hang out with my old man. I want to go be with my phone off and just not hear all the sights and sounds that annoy me down here. And then you kind of like you get into another frame of mind and you just relax and you come back, you know, a little bit different than when, you know, like you're more relaxed. You're a little bit more. You kind of recharge your batteries out there, man. It almost feels like you go back to like how people used to live, or you know, how maybe we were intended to live. But yeah, that's one of my favorite parts. And if do you guys do like a camping type situation when you go, or is it come and go?
It's more of you got that farm or that field or whatever you hunt, and it's pretty close to your house. And it's, I mean, some people come and go places where they do camp and stuff. But my hunt, anyways, is there's a little patch of woods by my grandpa's house, and I just walk over and sit down, and once it gets dark, come back in and do it again.
Yeah, the camping part is kind of cool too. Just maybe you know over there it's different, but over here we barely see any stars down here. Just so many city lights and all that. So when we go and stay over, it's a show, dude. You know, it's like, wow, dude, you never see all that stuff.
So we can see every star in the sky every night. It's
on a regular. All right, so that's nothing special over there.
What about fishing, Mike?
I am not that big on fishing. It's one of those things, if they're biting and I'm catching them, I can sit there and fish all day. But about the second minute when I don't catch one, I'm done, ready to go.
You guys have a lot of freshwater fishing over there?
Yeah, it's mostly ponds and lakes and that type of deal. a lot of bass fishing and crappie fishing.
Trout.
It's not as much trout. It's more just large and smallmouth bass is what you hear of most, or what I hear of most. That's usually what I catch. Some catfishing. Some people are big in catfishing.
How do you catfish exactly? Is there a different way, or is this the same?
I honestly do not know.
I'm not much of a fisherman.
Yeah, it's one of those things where I don't got the time and patience for it. If you want to catch those big old catfish like some people do, you go right ahead, but I'm not going to do that.
I'm not sure if Afro Man was from our area. Was he?
He's from my area. He's actually lives in a town just right down the road from us.
Who?
Well, like Colt 45 and 268.
Yeah.
Are you serious, dude?
Yep. I graduated with his daughter. One of his daughters was in my graduating class. He was at my graduation.
That's crazy, dude.
Yeah, his house is actually right down the road from the farm I work at.
Hey, look what Scott said. Old timers go grabbing. They hand fish the catfish.
That's what I was asking about, because I thought, and I didn't want to talk out of school because I don't know enough about it. I thought they would go down there and like stick their hand in there and like grab them and stuff.
Yeah, they call that noodling.
Noodling.
Okay.
I didn't realize that people still done that much, but evidently they do.
Dude, so Afro Man is from your area, or he decided to go move to your area?
I'm not sure exactly how it did work.
I mean, look at
I don't know.
That might be the most shocking thing I learned on this podcast today, dude.
Well, if you want to hear something shocking, I'll tell you one.
We're all about that. Go ahead, shock us.
I was actually struck by lightning once.
What?
Yeah.
What?
That's crazy, bro.
Like you, or like a car you were in?
It was a tent that I was holding on to. We have a corn maze in the fall, and
that's why you don't go camping.
Yeah. Yeah, we had this corn maze, so we had this tent set up for like where we were selling food out of, and like just like a little party tent, just having some kind of shelter. And it was like the weekend before we opened the corn maze, and it started lifting up, so we all ran out there and grabbed a hold of it, thinking, well, the winds will die down soon or whatever. And about 45 minutes later, me, my sister, my dad, and then a buddy's dad all got struck by, the lightning struck the tent, and then all four of us were holding on to it. So,
how old were you?
It was the day after my 16th birthday.
Holy shit.
And what was that like? You got superpowers?
Did you guys like fall off, get thrown back, or how does that work?
The other three like kind of just fell pretty close to where they were standing. It threw me like 15 foot through the air, and then you couldn't move. Like all your muscles tense up. You can't move. It knocked me out. When I woke back up, someone ran over to me and was like, "Are you okay?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I just fell down. Wasn't really sure what was happening." And then looked at my arms, and they were sticking straight out, clenched fist. I couldn't move anything, and I was like, "Wait a minute, maybe something."
Was your hair standing up?
I had real short hair at that time, so
or is that might be a like the bull and the balls misnomer type of thing, where people say that. Damn, that's crazy. And did you have to have any like medical attention, or you were?
We all went to the hospital because they said with all your muscles contracting and then releasing, they were worried that like our kidneys or our internal or our organs of some sort would also have done that, and maybe they weren't working right. So, but everything was all right. Just pumped some fluids through us and made sure everything was A-okay and sent us on our way.
So everybody in the group that got struck was fine. No permanent. I guess so like if the tent gets hit and then like all the metal parts of the tent that passes through and then that gets to you.
Yeah.
That helps. A direct strike, you're probably gonna have some long term. I would imagine. I don't know much about the subject, but
yeah.
We got some comments here. Noodling, yep, that's the name of the style of fishing. Throw out bread and dog food, and you jump on a cat's back and you catch it and eat it. What else do we got here? Is that true?
Cowboy Copas. Yeah, he was way back when. I don't know what exactly years he was, but there is a supposedly famous singer that was named Cowboy Copas in this area.
He was active 1925 to 1963.
Wow, that's a long career, dude. Now, when you're riding, dude, is there music playing in there?
There is. They always have music blaring.
Do you pick a song when you ride or no?
Not in the division I'm in. They just kind of have like a playlist and just play it. They'll announce us and stuff, and then there's just whatever song. There's certain bulls, like there's one bull that's named Kung Fu Panda, and they always play Kung Fu Fighter whenever he's being bucked. And there's a few like that, but most of the time it's just random songs. But I couldn't tell you the first song that's been played or anything other than going back and watching videos or whatever.
It's probably the last,
probably
the last thing on your mind.
Yeah, you just get focused in, and I couldn't tell you none of that stuff. But
I'm still shocked with the Afro Man thing. Anybody else we should know about that lives in your area? I mean, I didn't think to ask that because you told me you live in a small,
Yeah, I don't think there's anybody else around here. That's pretty much the big one.
Anybody else in your family ever do the bull riding?
My cousin, he actually just started maybe 3 or 4 weeks ago on his first bull, and he was like me. He got addicted, and he's now got his own rodeo gear, and we're planning on starting rodeoing together. That way we don't have to drive an hour and a half by ourselves.
Yeah, that's good to have sort of like a buddy. Yeah, it's family too. Somebody maybe that can just the company, but like, keep you going, and you guys can, keep each other going and stuff. That's cool. Is he young guy like you too?
He's 17 right now.
Okay, so. Wow, yeah. Young buck.
Yep. Yeah. Yo, who's John Holmes?
I have no clue.
He seems to know you really well, dude.
He was asking about how many times are we gonna drop the F-bomb, and now he's talking about Bobby Shmurda.
I have no clue who that is.
Have we dropped a lot of... He's a hip-hop guy, and he also follows our podcast, I think. Or somebody that pretends to be him. Did he say something about us dropping too many F-bombs?
Yeah, it was about the buck.
The wild boars.
The Amish buck.
Okay.
When we were surprised and how...
Sorry. Oh. It's usually not a family program, we're not trying to offend anybody. I'm sure you know who John Holmes is, though, because he's asking a lot of...
he's talking about the Rotten Massacre?
I don't. It must be somebody from this area, but I don't recognize the name. Because, I mean, that's all stuff that's happened around here, but...
Well, somebody else, Scott, is mentioning Hacksaw Hawkins in a plane crash. I'm not familiar with this.
Hacksaw Jim Duggins?
That's what I thought when I read it first. But
I am not sure either. Scott's actually my uncle. He's probably got knowledge on something that I don't know.
Maybe Tank can Google it and see if we get any information.
Michael, what about as far as entertainment? Do you like watching sports or?
Yeah, I actually just got back from a high school basketball game. I try to go and support the high school athletics as much as possible, which I have a younger sister playing. My buddy's little brother's playing in different sports. And if it's on TV, I'll watch it. I mean, I do enjoy sports a good bit. It was a whole big part of my life growing up, so which I'd like to become a basketball coach someday. So,
what's like the big sport up there? Like, is basketball. There one that like everybody's into basketball?
Yeah.
Is it more like college or high school? Or?
It's all high school. There ain't many colleges. I think probably the closest college is probably pretty close to an hour away, for the most part. So. Everything's just high school. Right now, our state tournament's going on in high school, so it's real big right now.
Tank, I feel like we're gonna have to look into some of these things these people are calling out here. The Rotten Massacre.
Now
Well,
I do
it
know
look
about that one.
it looks like Hawkshaw Hawkins. He said that they all died in a plane crash with Cowboy Copas and Patsy Cline.
Okay, so they were all in. Okay, so what is the Rotten Massacre?
That there was a
Mispronounce that?
It's Rodin, yeah.
Rodin. Okay.
They misspelled it too. It's supposed to be Rhoden, but
Okay, Rodin. Gotcha.
yeah. There was one day somebody just decided to go kill 8 members of a family up right on the county line, and like it was all over the news and a big deal and stuff, which as it should have been. And it was kind of one of those things, they think they got a killer and then they didn't, and it was an ongoing thing for a while. But it was just around here, if we make the news, usually someone's getting shot or whatever. There's not much that happens out here other than that.
That's a typical weekend in Miami.
You don't hear about everybody that gets shot here, actually.
Oh, right. Usually if we make the news, it's something bad like that, and it don't happen very often.
So they never caught this dude or gal?
I think they have now, because that would have been back in like 2016 when it happened. So I'm thinking now that they have.
I'm sure that's big.
Ohio State football.
Yeah, that's real big around here.
What about Cleveland Cavs?
It's not as big. Like I think we're far enough away from Cleveland that it's more of just everyone picks a favorite team, and it's not really like your hometown, because we're an hour away from Cincinnati. So there's a lot of Reds fans, a lot of Bengals fans, and then Ohio State, because Cincinnati's football until last year wasn't nothing really to talk about. But
what about the Browns?
Like, that's probably Cleveland's 4 hours away, so it's where the Bengals are an hour away. A lot of people favor the Bengals.
Okay. So you are, if I'm looking at the map, are you guys more towards the north or more towards the south?
We're on the very south. Adams County is, I want to say, like the 5th or 6th county from the left, from Cincinnati, and it's all the way on the river. I can be in Kentucky faster than I can be in Cincinnati.
Oh, wow. Is that like a common trip people will do from your area, go down to Kentucky?
A lot of people, or I won't say a lot of people, but there's several people that do go down, because right across the bridge is Maysville, Kentucky, which is a pretty good-sized town, got a lot of stores and a lot of restaurants and stuff. So it is pretty close.
I'm extremely into bourbon right now, and that's on my to-do list to go do the Kentucky Bourbon Trail sometime soon. I'd love to do that. I didn't realize how close that was to you.
Yeah.
They're saying the killer's still at large.
Fort Wayne, Indiana. I'm thinking that's a good ways away. I'm thinking Fort Wayne's over. I'm not sure, honestly. I don't do much travel in that direction.
Okay. So I'm sure like riding a horse and stuff like that is just common thing in your family. Everybody, is there always a horse around or not really?
No, not at all.
All right, so I'm stereotyping you there.
We used to have horses. We actually got rid of them before I got into this rodeo kick, which I hate. It's actually to the point now that I am I actually have a steer right now, and I'm training it to saddle ride, or that's my plan too. So instead of riding a horse, I'm kind of always been an oddball. Like, I've always stood out, been a goofball type thing in my school and stuff. So instead of just getting a horse and saddle training it, I got a cow that I'm going to raise and saddle train.
There's a John Cena commercial where he's riding a cow. I don't know if you've seen it recently. It's pretty funny. You seen it, Tank?
Nah.
I can't remember what the commercial's about. I've never seen that, by the way. So other than that commercial and you talking about it right now, I would probably get a mule if I did. A mule's like it's like a fucking big ass horse.
Yeah, it's a cross between a horse and a donkey.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they're supposed to have way more strength. And then, people say donkey, oh, look at that donkey. But the donkey actually has intelligence as far as animals go. And the mule, from what I've read, has this way more strength and endurance than a horse, but also has some of the intelligence from the donkey. And if you could get like a good mule, it could end up being like a better animal than a horse for riding and stuff. But no personal experience, just stuff I've read.
Yeah, it would be neat to get a mule. It's just, I don't know. It's a little bit, I guess, crazier to get a cow, and I really want to be the standout person. So,
you got a big project there, so
yes,
that's going to be hard enough to do. Is that
also
possible?
Yeah, there's a lot of people that do it. Actually, got a lot of time and effort into it, but if it don't work out, I can always just turn him into hamburger and fill the freezer. So I ain't that worried.
It's not going to go to waste.
No.
So what is high school? What high school did you go to, and what is high school like over there?
I went to North Adams High School. You just show up, do your stuff. As long as you don't get in trouble, it's pretty simple.
And if you get in trouble, the teacher probably knows your parents in a small town like that, right?
Oh yeah, yeah, and especially where we were sports kids. Not only did we have our parents to worry about, but they would go tell coach, which most of the time your coach worked in the school building, and then it was like your parents found out you were in trouble, your coach found out, well, next thing you know, you're running in trouble, and it was, everything goes around in a small town, and that's the truth.
How often do you run into a stranger?
It don't happen very often. I would say I haven't talked to everybody, but I at least know them somewhat. Like, know their family, know kind of where they're from. I might know a little bit about them, but to run into somebody that I absolutely have no clue who they are, or by the people they're with, who they are, or whatever, it doesn't happen very often.
That's so weird, man. To us, it's so weird because, like, when we see somebody we know, it's like, oh, hey, usually we're just, there's people you don't know, right, Tank? I mean, other than your immediate, work area or whatever, if you go out.
But at the supermarket, dude, you don't know anybody.
Oh, I walk through Walmart and I barely see anybody I don't know. It's just like, oh, I know them. They live down off that road, and all those people, they live there. They went to that school, and I mean, it seems like a lot of people, recognize, and I'd say a lot of that has to do with sports too. I mean, if I was just a high school kid, I'd know the people from my school probably, but I wouldn't know the people from other schools. But I also went to a community college my last 2 years of high school, so not only because of sports, but then a lot of the people from other high schools in this area went there, and I got to know some of them, and then met some of their friends, and kind of just slowly worked their way out and stuff. But
and what's it like? Is it like as far as, I don't know, you get into a car accident, like, oh, did you hear Michael got into a car accident? Like does things spread fast, or?
It was kind of like that in high school. Like, it gets around pretty quick, but then once you get out of high school, it kind of depends on who you are. Like, there's certain names that, the word will still get around pretty quick, but then other people is kind of just like, oh well, they weren't that important. I mean, oh well.
Did you hear Michael got struck by lightning? That was probably like a one going around at the time.
Yeah. I think it was. There's a lot of people in our hospital rooms that night wanting to see like the burn marks on our hands and stuff, and just all kinds of crazy stuff.
That's crazy, man. Yes, mules are infertile. There's another variation. It's called I don't know how to pronounce it. It's because you could have the male horse with the female donkey. I'm not sure if that's the one that produces the mule, and you could have the female horse with the male donkey, and I think you get. I'm not sure, but there's a male and a female. There's the mule, and the other one's called a hinny or a ginny, or it's Ginny. I don't even know how to pronounce it, but neither one of them can reproduce.
I see here that a hinny is it's a male horse and a female donkey. A hinny with a H.
And does it have? What is that? Is that a female mule that comes out every time, or is that just? It's also a male. See, I don't know their genders. Like, it's the weirdest animal, dude. You can only get it with two different animals.
I don't know if the gender matters. I think it's just if it's a male horse or
you could probably
get a female donkey.
You could get both genders, but one is a mule.
And
you could have a male
hinny,
mule or a female mule, male hinny, female. It's the weirdest damn thing, dude. The mule and the hinny thing. So, like, back to your high school. Like, what's the graduating class?
My graduating class, I believe, was 87.
87 people. Wow,
yeah.
Dude.
And we were, I want to say, the biggest high school in our county. There's 4 high schools in our county. We were either the biggest or second biggest. So, countywide, you're looking at 400 kids a graduating class.
Wow, dude. That's small, man. Yeah. We talked to a dude a couple weeks ago. Shout out to Ben from Utah. He was in a town of like 3,000 people. I can't remember. I think his graduating class was like 60, he said, or something like that.
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah. Which he's a guy who studies paranormal activity. Like, ghosts and poltergeist and things like that. Is there anybody in town that's like into that kind of stuff? Aliens, ghosts, things like that?
Nobody strikes my knowledge of real crazy about it. There's a lot of people that believe in that stuff, but I can't think of anyone that goes out goes in old abandoned houses looking for that type of thing. It's more of just it's kind of like the Bigfoot conversation, whether you believe or not. And
I'm not sure what Serpent Mound is.
Serpent Mound's a big tourist attraction around here. It's a mound of a snake or a serpent in the ground. It was used by the Native Americans to a calendar and that type of deal. But a lot of people come from all over the place to Serpent Mound.
Is there a lot of Native Americans in your area?
There's not anymore. The Shawnee tribe was here way back when. But they've kind of, there's a couple, there's one that actually has a store in town that's just a bunch of old collectible stuff that he buys and sells and trades and stuff, kind of like a pawn shop type deal.
Okay.
But other than him, I can't really think of any off the top of my head.
Yeah, we have a couple tribes down here in South Florida, Central Florida. The Miccosukes and the Seminoles, and their big thing is casinos. They got a couple casinos, and they have some events where they do alligator wrestling and sell their artisanal things that they make and stuff like that.
One of the motocross tracks that I went to was owned by the Seminoles.
Okay,
airboat. Seminole County, yeah.
Airboat rides.
It was actually right across from I don't know if it's Lyon County Safari.
Yeah, that's one.
Yeah.
We got to have John Holmes on the show one day so he can tell us all about his experience. So nobody that you know's ever seen anything out there or anything like that.
Not that I know of.
I guess that would have spread fast though. A UFO sighting.
It's either it would have spread fast or it would have spread fast that somebody's lost their mind and they're a little off their rocker.
That theme comes up a lot in our show. We talk about that a lot. About aliens and stuff.
Dude, real quick, and not to put you on the spot, where do you stand on all that?
I think they're out there.
There's a possibility for aliens to be out there?
Yeah, I don't see why there wouldn't be. I mean, if we can hold life forms on here, or if we can hold life forms on Earth, I don't see why there ain't another planet somewhere that can hold life forms. So, I mean,
Right
this
with
galaxy's pretty big. So,
yeah, that's where I stand exactly there. Like, it's so big, and they find new galaxies every day, new planets. How could there not?
right.
John, John Holmes, did you happen to just stumble across the show, or are you somebody that
Dude, John Holmes is a male porn actor. So
yeah, I know. I thought the name
okay,
might be a guy,
okay,
famous porn actor from the 80s. But maybe his name is legitimately John Holmes.
okay, true, true.
We don't know. It's a kind of a common. John is very common, and then you know, but yeah, absolutely. Um, do you think? Obviously, you just told us you think we're getting way off track, but this is about rodeo. But do you think? And by the way, if anybody's watching the show out there right now or on the replay, thank you, and we'll appreciate it if you can like and subscribe the video, like the video and subscribe to the podcast. That'll help the show. So just want to thank everybody out there in the comment section, everybody watching. What I was going to ask you, Michael, is you said, you think there has to be someone out there. Do you think, if you were to guess, none of us are investigators or anything, do you think it's possible that they ever came here?
I have no clue about that. I don't know. There's some things that you probably, or like the pyramids, for example. You wonder how in the world that was done, but I mean, if there's a will, there's a way. So I imagine people pulled it off somehow. So I don't think it's very likely that they came.
Where I stand in that whole thing is, dude, the same reason. I think it's the universe is so big. What are the odds that they landed here? There's so many other planets they could have gone to. Why this one?
Because we're in the Goldilocks zone. We're a Goldilocks planet, dude. Not too cold, not too hot, just perfect.
How many of those is there out there, though?
They always are finding new ones, so it's not like there's not that many, but I don't know. It's an interesting thing to think about too. There's a lot of things that come out in the news a lot, and you're like, a lot of it you're like, oh man, that's some BS right there, and then some of it is kind of interesting. Like we talked about it a lot, like Commander Fravor, the guy who was flying the military craft that spotted the famous Tic Tac. I always have to make sure I don't say TikTok. Tic Tac. I don't know if you ever seen that one, Michael. It looks like it's a black and white like onboard camera system that they have on the planes, and it just shows this thing going side to side. When I first saw it, I was like, I don't know, dude, that looks like an old video game. I don't know what that is. But I heard the guy talk about it who was, fighter pilot, and he's not into UFOs at all. He's like, this just happened to me. I experienced that. I never really thought about it. And at minimum, it's something that, I'd be like, damn, we need to find out what that was, whether it's not from here or from maybe one of our enemies, maybe that's some Russian tech. We don't know what that is. We'd want to find out what that is. But anyways, thought we'd ask you a little bit about that, since we debate that a lot on here. So back to your bull riding adventures. What's up? What's up ahead for you? What are like some plans, goals, things you want to try to get done?
They do buckle series there at Fox Hollow in the novice division, and it's like 10 weeks or so long or whatever, and you rack up points, and then the highest person at the points at the end of it gets a buckle. And I think it'd be pretty cool to win a buckle, but then I also want to jump up to jackpot and start riding for money. So it's kind of one of those things, just depending on how my riding goes, whether I stay in novice or jump to jackpot or how that works.
And when does that start?
The buckle series is just constantly going. As soon as one ends, they start another one. Right now, we're pretty far into one, and I got one qualified ride in it, so I'm nowhere near the top. But I'm hoping by the time the next one starts, I'll be in a groove of somewhat and be there for that one.
So that's sort of like an immediate next step, next goal that you want to do.
Yeah.
Cool, man. Yeah, so it seems like there's always, if you're in it, somewhere you want to go to get to the next level, and you have something to shoot for.
Yeah.
Michael, and what decides you go into jackpot? Like in motocross, it would be like the top 3 riders were bumped up to the next division.
It's more of, it's the entry fees are a little bit higher and the bulls are a little bit ranker, but you can just sign up whenever you want to.
So it's up to you.
Yeah. Yeah.
He says that the aliens come to watch you ride.
Like maybe.
So it's completely up to you. Whenever you feel like you're ready to ride some stronger, more bucking bulls, you just sign up. And how much more is the entry fee?
It's either 50 or 60 depending on the night, because they get payouts every night, and it's all the entry fee money plus they add usually about $1,000 to the pot and pay that all out.
And how do you win?
It's in that there you have 24 riders, and then they bring the top 5 or 6 back. You ride in the long go, which is 24. Then the top 5 or 6 ride a second bull in the short go, and then whoever has the highest total score of the night. So like if you ride your first bull for 84 points, and then you ride your second bull for 82, that gives you about combined 166, and then that there will put you in the placing of however it is.
Speaking on how you said about the PBA, where it's a 50-50 for the bull and the rider.
Yeah. That's how all bull riding events are. So even like my novice bull riding, there's 2 judges out there still keeping track, which granted, instead of having bulls that are bucking and kicking and stuff and scoring close to a 25 on each side, these bulls might be scoring like 15 on each side. So they're only getting 30. So then your maximum score, even if you do everything perfect, you can still only get an 80-point ride because the bull wasn't performing well. So you want a bull that you can ride, but a bull that's performing well. That way you can get that good score.
And a bull that's performing well is one that's really trying to get you off of them. Is that basically how they get scored?
Yeah, it's bigger kicks with their hind legs, more vertical leap with their front legs, and then tighter spins. That there all goes into it. And then if they like turn back, if they start out going right and then stop and turn and go back left, that there's hard to ride that because you're setting on the left side of the bull trying to stay there, and then once he turns back, you got to get over to the right side of the bull or you're going to be on the dirt. So it's just a lot of different things.
What's been your best score so far?
I rode one for 64, and then I had a 65. They were both pretty low scores, which the bulls weren't nothing crazy, but sometimes
was that the 8-second ride, the higher score?
Yeah, that
Okay.
8-second ride. The first 8-second ride was terrible. Like for a while, I didn't even count it. The bull came out and like didn't even hardly buck. It was just kind of running, and then it stopped. And one of the rodeo bullfighters ran over and slapped it and got it to go again. And I was just like, well, I guess that's 8 seconds, but that is not what I want to say my first 8 seconds was, which I do now that I have another one.
Right. Yeah.
What about for the novice class, 65, 64? Is that like considered a good score?
65. I got second place on the night. There was one boy that got 71, which he was riding jackpot, and he just came down to the novice division because he was having a poor couple of weeks. And it's one of those things. It's kind of like if you're
confident
usually
boost?
riding, a confident boost. Yeah.
Kind of like a baseball player in this case it's voluntary, but kind of like a baseball player going back down to the minor leagues, work on his swing a little bit, or on the craft, and then go back up when you're ready.
Yeah, a lot of the real good bull riders, the bulls I'm riding, they could consider them practice bulls or practice pin bulls. So they would be the ones they're getting on in the middle of the week. That way, if they need to work on their feeding, they're not like really fighting to stay on, but at the same time they can work on, I need to make sure my foot is at this position at all times. or I need to make sure my head is looking at this the whole time. So then once you get your muscle memory there, then you can jump back onto the real deal ones and perform better.
What's like so like a pro bull rider? How often is he getting on a bull in a real competition? Is once a week too much, or is that like
for like the PBR, which are the pros? They're getting on for competing usually every Friday and Saturday. They'll have a round on Friday, a round on Saturday, and then a championship round on Saturday. So they'll be riding 3 bulls a weekend, or the top 15 guys after 2 rounds will ride 3 bulls. And then they're
every
also
week?
riding, most of the
wow.
time, as long as they got an event scheduled. And then usually they might take a day of rest or whatever, but every other day they're getting on, it might be 6 or 10 practice bulls where they're not just working on fundamentals, like just going through that checklist. Because if you, like in any sports, if you don't have the muscle memory, I mean, you're not going to make nothing of yourself. So
yeah. And like we were talking about that mechanical bull, there's really only one way to practice, right? It's you gotta get on a real bull, otherwise you're not really. Is there things you can do to prepare other than riding a bull?
Not that's truly accurate. I'm working on making that buck and barrel, which is I'm taking a truck spring and putting it on a truck bearing so it'll spin, and then mounting a barrel to the top of the spring. That way it bucks and stuff. And that's about as close as you can get, just some kind of bucking barrel. There's a lot of different ways you can rig them up. But for what I'm trying to do, I think that's what I need to, that's the way I need to make it. So I'm going to try that. And because right now I'm only getting on a bull once a week, and one Friday I'll ride and I won't ride till the next Friday. And anything that I was thinking of needing to work on, we'll have to wait a week to do it. And then by that point, if I'm like, I lost my feet this week, I need to focus on my feet. Then the next week, well, then it'll be my balance or my head or something, because I'm so focused on my feet. It's kind of just that domino effect. And then the next week, I'm like, oh, I need to focus on my balance because it was off. And then my feet comes loose again, and just a constant battle. So I'm working on it. It's just a lot harder than I thought it was going to be. So
yeah, it sounds like you almost got to be just there every week and just, all right, this is what I do every week. This is what I'm going to do. This is what I'm going to do, and just keep going and going and going. How about again, I know absolutely nothing about this other than what I've learned here with you today and a little bit. Do these guys work more on flexibility, or are any of these guys like pumping some iron, or what's like? Are some of these dudes doing yoga or stuff like that to get more flexible? You know, because I see you guys, you're like all over the place. What's more important?
There's a lot of people that are really toned that ride bulls, but they are also really flexible at the same time. It's kind of that happy balance of like, you got to be strong to keep yourself on. I mean, if you get on there weak, you're not going to be able to keep yourself on. You'll get back on the what I call rumble seat, which is once you scoot back off your rope, and it's just rough back there, and you won't last long back there. And then, but also you do have to be flexible. That way you can go with the bull every move and keep where you need to be.
You said you're like 6'3"?
Yeah, 6'3",
which is pretty big for a bull rider. And how much do you weigh?
I'm right at 180.
Okay, it would seem like a wiry kind of guy is probably. Is that right? Is a wiry guy? Is it better to be wiry or kind of stocky? Does it not matter?
It kind of just depends on like your ride style and stuff, because like at Fox Hall, there's anybody and everybody riding. But if I'm thinking of PBR riders, there's some guys that are real short and stocky and just all muscle. But then there's some guys that's, I wouldn't say really all muscle, more of taller for PBR, and then lankier and that type of deal too. So it's kind of like, it doesn't really matter what your build is. You're coming in as the underdog. Like, you're climbing on a 15 to 2,000 pound bull as a 100 to 200 pound man. I mean, you're
always going to lose.
Right. Yeah. It's just a matter of whether you hear that horn before you lose, or if they get you first. But
What was
So-
that like? Sorry, go ahead, Tank. I've been
Um,
firing away. Go ahead.
Once those 8 seconds are up, that's it. Like you basically like jump off, or
yeah, my last 8 second ride, my plan was to untie my hand and then kind of jump off out of the way. Like the bull was kind of turning to the right, so I was trying to get off to the left, and just that way I didn't get in front of him, so he'd go the other way, and you just kind of try to just get out of the way.
yeah, like there's
I mean,
no point in like going longer than 8.
No, it does nothing for you.
What was that
Say-
like? That first time you heard that? Oh, I know you said the first time you weren't that happy with it because the bull was, not performing as good. But what was that like as a guy getting started and you heard that for the first time and it was, it was what you wanted it to be?
In the moment, it was amazing hearing that horn. Like, I didn't realize how bad of a ride it was until I went back and watched the video. I realized the bull stopped it for a second, but I thought it was like he like stopped and like changing directions or something. Like, I didn't realize it was that bad. And when I got off that time, he was actually close enough to the fence. I just reached over and grabbed the fence, and he ran out from underneath of me. And I just started clapping, which I got an extremely loud clap. And I was just like, man, I finally done it. And like, I thought I was on cloud 9. And then I watched the video and I'm like, well, it wasn't as crazy as I thought it was. But, and then this other time I heard the horn and I was just like, finally, it's finally my time or whatever. So went ahead and got off and stuff. And I was just like, that's the reason I don't quit. I mean, because I was very seriously debating hanging it all up, selling it, all my equipment. Just, this ain't for me. I don't have the right body and build for it. I mean, I'm never going to get 8 seconds again unless the bull stops for a few seconds again. So, but then once I got that, I was just like, man, I'm on top of the world again.
Hell
Nothing can
yeah,
stop
man.
me.
Hell yeah, dude. Yeah, that must be probably fucking dreamed about it probably a few times before it happened. So I can imagine, dude. That's awesome, man. So that is what has got you motivated right now.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
And
Yeah.
when was that? How long ago?
That second 8 second ride would have been, I want to say 6 weeks ago, 5 or 6 weeks ago.
Okay.
So you're getting full blown back into it right now.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's awesome, man. You're chasing your dream, man. That's cool. A lot of people don't do it, so keep doing it. I would say keep doing it as long as you can do it, man.
That's the goal. I always said it's going to either take starting a family or something and settling down and realizing I can't be going and wasting money on bull riding and risking medical bills, or it's going to take a medical bill to get me stopped.
Dude, speaking of medical bills, and we'll wrap it up in a little bit. We've been going almost 2 hours. How often is there? Have you ever heard of like a dude dying in there?
Actually, there was just last year in the PBR. There was a dude that got stepped on in the chest, and he ended up dying from it.
Like how much time passed from the accident till he died?
I'm not 100% sure on that. I actually just heard about that here in like the last week. Didn't really do much reading up on it or anything. But then like Lane Frost back in 1988, which that was before vests and helmets and all that. They were going out there and just riding bulls. He rode a bull for 8 seconds, hit the dirt, and then the bull came up and put a horn right through his ribs, and he was dead before he left the ring.
Wow. And this dude was like one of the best, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
It's so crazy, man. It's almost like I almost think about it like boxing in a way. The sports are totally different, but the possibility of getting seriously injured, dude, and potentially like an injury that it could kill you or really mess you up for a long time.
Yeah.
And then it's just two in the boxing it's two people, but here's a man and an animal. Is there women bull riders, by the way?
At Fox Hollow, there is a few women that ride.
Okay.
I haven't seen any in like big circuits or anything, but where it's anybody can come up. There's a lot of people around here where we're out in the middle of nowhere and hey, let's go ride a bull. There's a lot of tomboy type girls that, yeah, I'll ride a bull, and jumps right on and gives their best shot.
And they're competing with the guys.
Yep.
Okay. I never thought about this. I always. Is there like a one woman that's like really good, or it's not?
There was one when I first started that she was always placing in the novice division, and she was riding 2 bulls a night because she was getting ready to make the jump to jackpot. But then I kind of was riding like once a month back then. It wasn't as common, or like I wasn't going every week or nothing with my work. And then now she ain't there riding no more, so I don't know what exactly happened to her or anything.
So there's not like a Danica Patrick of bull riding or anything like that.
Nah, not.
I wonder, like physically. Okay, because let's be honest, not trying to be a chauvinist pig or anything like that, but most sports, there's not going to be a woman playing professional football or baseball probably. I wonder if that's a sport that they could maybe compete more if they, put, more energy into it, just because it's a timed event. You're not necessarily, you're competing against other people, but you're not like necessarily competing directly. You're all competing against the bull in essence, right?
Oh, it very easily could be something that a woman could do and succeed in, but it just, I don't know of any. The other thing with bull riding and stuff, where other than the PBR, it has barrel racing, which barrel racing is more of a woman's sport, and breakaway roping, that's more of a woman's sport. To a point, like it just kind of, there's certain events that is women, and then certain events that are more guys. But I don't know if it's in the rules that you have to be a male, or if it's just like just over the years it's kind of just an unwritten rule or something that could be broke.
Guys, I'm gonna we're gonna go in a few minutes. Let me take a quick bathroom break. Maybe you guys can keep it going for a second. I'll be right back. Okay.
So what was the closest you've gotten to another 8 since the one 6 weeks ago?
I want to say I got one like 5.5 seconds or something like that. I've had a lot of 5s and a lot of 6-second rides throughout I've been on 20 bulls total, and it seems like there's most of the time I can get 4. The first 4 ain't too bad. It's the second 4 that usually get me. But
and it's just well, I guess you can't expect to, you don't know what the bull is gonna do.
No, it's just every time they're out, they can do something different. I mean, you just never know what they're going to do.
Caleb asked something there about a saddle cow for practice. What's that about?
That's that steer I'm training to saddle ride. My plan is to use him for balance purposes. Like if I go out and ride a cow just for fun, I'll understand where I need to keep my body to stay center of that cow more. That's kind of part of the reason I decided to go cow as well, not only to stick out, but just so I can do that.
Something like this, man?
Mine ain't going to be the Longhorn. Mine's just a old Holstein. But yeah, that's basically what I'm trying to do with a cow. Just hop on its back and ride it.
That's pretty fucking cool, dude. I'm pretty sure you're gonna pick up some chicks with that.
Hey, real quick, maybe stupid question. I'm not too sure. Is a cow only female?
A cow is female, and then the bull's male too, in the cattle species.
Okay.
Which right now I have a bull calf, and I'm going to turn him into a steer by castrating him, and that's what I'm going to turn into my saddle cattle.
Hey, look, here's a pretty big guy. That's a pretty big fella right there.
That looks like a younger calf.
No, I mean the dude. Well, I don't know. Maybe the dude looks bigger because the thing is smaller, but that looks like a pretty tall guy.
Yeah.
So a steer, what does that do? It makes them less aggressive when you castrate them?
Yeah, it makes them less aggressive, and then they are infer or can't breed or whatever, so they're not as worried about the women and more worried about just eating, getting bigger.
Living life.
Right.
Oh man, I wish I wasn't so worried about the women.
Look at this guy's back legs, dude.
You'd say
Yeah,
that's
that-
100.
I wouldn't necessarily call it 100 because if you look at him, he's not exactly sitting straight up and down. I mean, the bull
Well, not
score would
him,
be,
the bull. I mean,
oh yeah, he'd be right at a 50. Yeah, right there. Not
Okay.
knowing what the rest of the ride looked like, because I mean that's straight up and down, depending on how high he got up in the front end and how tight he spun and stuff. But from that there, looked real good.
This is some of that roping right here, right?
Yeah, that looks like tie down. So he had rope that calf and then jump off the horse and run over and tie 3 of its legs together. That's the
Now-
size there.
Do you get? Is that every weekend you get the rodeo on TV? Because I don't think we get that down here, right, Tank?
The only rodeos that's every week is like the PBR, which is just bull riding. Every once in a while they'll have a special thing for like an actual 7-event rodeo or 9-event rodeo or whatever it is that week. But most of the time it is just the PBR.
I remember seeing some PBR on TV before. Ooh, look at
Yeah, he's breakdancing, I think.
that.
How different is the skill that this guy right here? That's a bucking bronco, or what is?
Yeah.
This?
Yeah, that's
How different is that skill?
a saddle bronc. So for saddle broncs, you got to keep your feet in the stirrups because there's an actual saddle on that horse he's riding in. And the horses don't really turn back and forth. It's just all about riding the buck. But they buck really aggressive and they're really quick. And they're just like the bulls, they're out to get you once you hit the dirt for the most part. So you'll get kicked and stomped and stepped on just as fast, if not faster, than if you were riding a bull.
and
With
they
that
are
thing.
like a bit thinner, right? So it would make a difference on how you sit on them. Right?
Yeah. Well, that there, he's actually sitting on a saddle. So it is a whole different ball game.
There is no saddle for the bulls, right? It's just bareback.
Yep. Bareback. The only thing keeping you on there is your hand in that rope.
And your legs, right? Your
Yeah.
legs. Okay.
Which
What's
a lot,
considered more? I'm sorry. Go ahead.
which the thing with bull riding is if your feet come off, your hand can get caught up in your rope. And then you're getting dragged around by one arm at the feet of a bull. And that's like when the rodeo clowns come in. Like some of that stuff's just, it's scary to watch. It's something I like to watch. And I watch usually on days that I ride just to get me like locked in. Like, hey, if you mess up, this could be you. Don't do that.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah,
Is this which one is considered more dangerous for the rider?
I always thought it was bull riding, but then I had somebody tell me that was more into like both events, and he said he always thought bareback or bronc riding was more dangerous because if you ride for 8, there's 2 horses that come up and get on each side of that horse, and you just kind of bail off onto the back of another horse instead of hitting the ground.
Okay.
So, but he also said that if you come off early, you're going to get kicked and stepped on and stuff fast. Like you might not even hit the ground and he's already going to kick you once. Where in bulls, usually you can hit the ground and maybe even have a route to get away before you get hit or horned or whatever.
Yeah, it almost seems like, and again, I don't know anything about this, but it almost seems like you're more likely to get kicked in this bucking bronco than on a bull. I don't know.
Yeah. Because bulls mostly, they'll try to hook you with their horns or they'll try to stomp you, where a horse is just going to try to kick the crap out of you.
Right. Wow, that is a little kid on that there.
Actually, there at Fox Hollow, they start them off. There's some kids I bet ain't 3 years old that they're riding sheep.
Oh my God! Wow,
and then
dude.
you got kids. I'd say the youngest is probably like, I don't know. I think that one boy's probably 6 or 7, and then he goes up to, or that class goes up to like 16 riding calves, and then the novice goes, however old you want to be and climb on one, they'll let you.
And
That's about what.
the sheep. They're not bucking, right?
No, they're just running crazy. It's called. They call it mutton busting, and you just Little kid grabs a hold of the wool on the sheep and holds on tight, and the sheep just takes off and try to hold on.
Hey, there's a good-looking woman riding a horse there.
There's a lot of good-looking women with horses.
That's a barrel racing, right?
I'd say so. Yeah, the barrel's back there behind her.
I forgot what I was going to ask.
That's probably a lie.
I don't know why we have this guy riding his lawnmower here.
Hey.
That's the only kind of riding I do around here. Mutton busting. Yeah, there you go. Scott's. Have you ever rode a sheep? He wants to know. This is one of your boys here, right?
His uncle.
Yeah, that's my uncle. Yeah,
Okay.
I have rode one sheep. The rodeo used to come to the county fair when I was young, and that was in the time of watching 8 Seconds daily. And I was like, man, in the first scene of that movie, Lane Frost, the star cowboy, he rode a sheep, and I was like, man, I gotta ride a sheep. So I got on one, and I got on and got my fist on him and everything, and he took off running, and I was expecting him just to take off running. About 3 steps out into the ring, he stops real quick, and I go flying over his head, and then I run out and do like the Lane Frost celebration because I thought I did good when I probably placed last place in the rodeo, but I ran out and did the whole Lane Frost always did the 2-hand wave out in the middle of the ring, so I ran out and done it, and I thought I was all that.
And that was the only time you rode a sheep?
Yep. And ever since that day, the next time I rode anything in a rodeo was July 20th of 2019.
Tank, have you ever ridden any animals?
Probably a fucking pony. And they held it while they walked. So.
That was a long time ago.
Yeah, that was ways back.
Yeah, I've only probably ridden a couple horses here and there. I had a very bad experience the first time they put me on a horse. So my dad had a buddy of his who this guy was probably a quasi-criminal. He was hiding out deep in the woods. And I think he was taking care of somebody's farm, and they happened to have some horses on there. And they just put me on this horse who appeared to, I think she was pregnant, dude. She had to be pregnant. And I remember it was a very hot day, and they had her tied up somewhere kind of in the sun. So as soon as they let her loose and put me on top, she started hauling ass for some trees that were way down. I guess she wanted to get in the shade, but I had never been on a horse, and I was just hanging on for dear life. I mean, in my head, it's like I'm riding a bucking bronco. It probably wasn't that bad, but for a little kid, I just freaked the fuck out, and that was my first experience. And then I think I've been on some I don't know what you would call them, places where you go and they have super trained horses that you can ride, and they're super used to people being on. I take my kids. There's a horse farm down the block, and my daughter's really into it. My son, not so much. He'd rather be playing a video game of himself riding a horse than doing the real thing. But she's into it big time, so I'll probably take her some more to that. Because down here, it's not that common. Most people are doing other activities and stuff. Tank, do you have any more questions for Michael before we skedaddle out of here?
No questions, dude. But it was awesome, bro. I really learned a lot. Something totally different from what we're used to over here.
Yeah. I'm glad we connected, man.
I'm glad I could help gain knowledge for you and everybody that's seeing it about rodeo.
Yeah, man. But real quick, I have to do a commercial for my sponsor before we go, and then we'll get out of here. So manofactionfigures.com is the sponsor of the show. These are just some of the products we got in this week. We got some of these little old bullpen cars. I think these were popular like in the 70s era. We got some Funko Pops this week, like we always do. I thought that one was appropriate for the show since we're always having a Toast Duffman from The Simpsons just came in. Karate Kid. A lot of people are liking that show on Netflix, The Revival. I think this is from the original. Daniel LaRusso. What else do we have? We got some Predator. We always have Predator items. That's Jungle Hunter Predator 4-inch figure from Haya Toys. The Child. We got a bust here, Star Wars. And this one is from Diamond, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, Diamond Select. Got a little bust of the Child. What else do we have? We have some of these Funko sodas. I like this movie. That's Snake Plissken from Escape from New York. What else do we have? We got one of these Funko Pop album covers. Biggie Smalls, Notorious B.I.G., Ready to Die. And lastly but not least, we have this 3-0 Transformers Soundwave action figure. And that's pretty much it. You can check out all that stuff on manofactionfigures.com. If you're in the South Florida area, you can go to the store, 27551 South Dixie Highway. You can call us 305-255-1987. And you can email us, info@manofactionfigures.com. We talk about movies and stuff a lot. Are you into like any Western movies other than, you did tell me about that bull riding, which I feel like going to watch right now when I get off the show. But are there any other like Western movies you grew up with or you kind of enjoy?
I grew up in a huge John Wayne family, which my uncle that's been commenting and stuff, he was real big into John Wayne. And we were always watching some kind of John Wayne movie or just some kind of Western movie growing up. So.
Hell yeah, the Duke. How about like Clint Eastwood? Was that kind of big too? Like Good, Bad, and the Ugly, and
yeah, I like Clint Eastwood. Any of those Western movies, it don't really matter who's in them. It's more of like the lifestyle that if I wanted to go watch some lifestyle or a movie, I'd want it to be a Western, not who knows what you can find nowadays. So.
Yeah. There's something about the Western that I'm attracted to. It's, Clint's one of my favorites, but I also like, have you ever seen Tombstone?
Yeah, I've actually been out to Tombstone, Arizona, and that was cool after seeing the movie and then walking through the town. It was crazy.
They still have like the whole little town kind of set up. You could go to the OK Corral. I haven't been.
Yep.
A buddy of mine that used to be on the show went. And he told me, yeah, you could go to the Birdcage Theater and you could go to the OK Corral where the shootout was. And yeah, I'd love to go there one day.
It's really cool. I highly recommend.
Yeah, I love that movie. Well, Michael, I really appreciate your time, man, and hanging out with us and bringing us a little bit into your world and telling us about what you do and your neck of the woods up there. Any closing thoughts for any of you guys before we get out of here?
I just want to go ahead.
Go ahead.
I just want to thank you all for having me. It's something I didn't think was going to happen. I didn't think I was going to be interviewed about bull riding anytime soon, but I'm really glad I did. And thank you guys for the opportunity. It was a blast.
Yeah, it was our pleasure, man. And we'd love to maybe check back in on you later, and maybe we can hang out again one day when you have some time and we're doing something like this. It'd be cool.
That sounds good.
Yeah, bro, it's been awesome. Really like learned a lot. It was cool to actually like talk to somebody that's done it, and you hear about it, you don't pay much attention to it, and like that thing that I asked you about what my dad told me, and it's good to get some insight on it and learn some things and actually speak to somebody that's doing it. It's awesome. A lot of things, the 8-second rule, things you never knew.
You could go call your dad a liar now, dude.
Yeah, I'm going to tell him he's a fucking liar.
All right, Mike. All right, Tank. Thank you, guys. Thanks, everybody in the chat. Thanks, everybody in the replay. Appreciate anybody who subscribed. And we'll see you guys next week. Thank you so much.